Notre Dame controlling the opening tip.
Look at this matchup. Vanderbilt will switch a lot. Who will have the responsibility to staying with Hannah Hidalgo?
Ball in the hands of Hidalgo. Contested shot with Washington in her face. Off the mark. Aubrey Godwin brings it back up for the Commodores. We'll look for number 1 in white for Vanderbilt as they get it inside to Washington. And picked up. Over to Justine Passat, being guarded on the perimeter by Kaz Prosper. An overshot. Vanessa De Jesus, one of the transfers into the program. Nice bounce pass. Prosper can't finish at the rim.
And we were listening to the ladies in studio talk about who had the advantage. They talked about Notre Dame's experience because Vanderbilt's in uncharted territory. In the SEC tournament, there was a little bit of nerves. Ole Miss jumped on them early. Can Notre Dame do the same?
And the steals leader in the nation, Hannah Hidalgo, comes up with 1, and that's the first 2 points of the game. Hidalgo, who has had a great NCAA tournament thus far, averaging and collecting 8 steals in each of her last 2 games. Had another one there, steps on the inline. And now for Need to Know, brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks. His 22nd overall appearance in the Sweet 16. Again, Neil Ivey has led them to 5 straight, one of 3 teams in Division I. We'll see UConn later, South Carolina as well. But they're trying to turn their fate around and punch their ticket to the Elite 8 for the first time since 2019.
Another steal by Hannah Hidalgo. She is always, look, she is like, when there's chum in water, she's going after it.
And she is just so instinctive on the defensive end, and she's done a nice job on the offensive end. We mentioned 3rd in the nation in scoring, better than 25 points a game, and she's played off of a number of players, the supporting cast who has held her up this season as Prosper is off the mark. This Vanderbilt team coming in at 29-4 overall, finished tied for 2nd in the SEC, is Washington with a strong put up. And she's fouled and will try to complete the 3-point play.
This is what I expect Vanderbilt to challenge from the beginning because of all the attention that is on the guards for both teams. Who's going to win this battle inside? Sasha Washington is the most veteran on the court to go inside, playing like a woman on a mission.
A player who was a part of Shea Ralph's first recruiting class, and the way that she is trying to cap off her senior season, it's been fun to watch this young lady from Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Yeah, it's been amazing, the matchup she's had. I mean, she's played against the likes of a Reagan Beers in the SEC. She's used to going against bigger, stronger post players.
And drawing the foul is Blake. So Vanessa De Jesus picks up her first personal foul, Notre Dame's team's 2nd. And Galvin going right to the hoop, and again, the attack mentality that we've already seen from the Commodores.
Look, this is a defense from the leading scorer in the nation. She's gonna get down and get after it defensively. Gets De Jesus called for the offensive foul.
Sophomore out of Somerset, New Jersey, and I think that's what's not talked about as much. We see the scoring prowess of Michaela Blakes, but she is also an outstanding defender as well. Galvin makes the first free throw. And think about this, the first Sweet 16 appearance, and what an amazing first season for Aubrey Galvin out of Deerfield, Illinois.
Look, when we met with the team yesterday, it seemed like, you know, Blake's was pretty comfortable, Passat pretty comfortable. Aubrey Galvin was excited. Yeah, this freshman was so excited to continue to advance in this tournament.
Jump ball possession arrow goes in favor of the Commodores. And just to catch you up on what it has been a historic season, best program start in Vanderbilt history, was undefeated, 20-0 at one point. They were perfect at Memorial Gymnasium at home, most SEC wins with 13 on the season, and they're hungry for more. Meanwhile, this group, Notre Dame, coming out of the ACC, boy, they have had their fair share of adversity, but I'll tell you, they've been anchored by core players like Hannah Hidalgo, Cass Prosper, who knocks down the shot, along with KK Bransford, who we'll see coming off the bench.
Yeah, they had suffered, Notre Dame, a lot of injuries all season long. At one point in the season, it got down to having 6 players, but Ncaa Ivy kept the confidence of this team and stayed focused.
And Ncaa Ivy talked about the joy with which she is coaching this season because of the resiliency of this group. They were 3-5 in January. As you mentioned earlier, Carolyn, some question if they would make the NCAA tournament, but no doubt because they have turned things around in a major way in South Bend.
Well, big reason they played the month of January without KK Bransford, and having her back is huge. This is a player that's going to give you almost 8 points a game, 4 rebounds, and she's going to give you those hustle plays, help you win those 50-50 possessions.
That's number 14 in Navy as she's checked into the ball game. Hidalgo on Blake's, 5 to work with on the shot clock. Bransford puts it up and is off the mark. Jackal Engel, Ncaa able to control it for the Commodores. Blake's searching for her first points of the game, off the mark. Hidalgo taking it right in. Hannah Hidalgo now with 4 points. And a Notre Dame 1-point lead.
Notre Dame able to score without having to set an offense because they're scoring in transition. That plays to the Irish's advantage.
Blake sloughs it up, no good. And a foul underneath the basket. And let's go back to Hannah Hidalgo, already off to quick starts. You see it in transition, boom, she just blows by, takes the hoop.
Yeah, she's recognizing defense is not set. When she sees a lane to the basket, Hidalgo's going to take it.
Galvin on the inbound, and Ncaa over to Sasha Washington. Ncaa, of course, was a part of that Texas team that made it to the Final Four a season ago, now finishing off her graduate season in Nashville. Well, jump ball, it's going to be Notre Dame basketball. Oh, correction, it's Vanderbilt basketball. As a couple of substitutions in. Jada Brown along with Ayanna Mitchell checking in the ball game for the Commodores, who are 1 of 7 from the floor to start this game. The kickback pass to Passat, had that one partially deflected by Prosper. And the Commodores going to have 8 seconds to work with on the shot clock. What have you seen from this Notre Dame defense thus far?
Well, they're keeping size on Michaela Blakes, or if she ends up with a smaller guard, they're always showing help to her and then contesting everything from 3 from Justine Passat.
Blakes puts it up and airmails it as Hidalgo grabs the rebound. Very active early on from Hannah Hidalgo. 4 points, 3 rebounds, couple of steals, but stolen away by Aubrey Galvin, and Galvin looking ahead to Blake's, that connection who has been so special all season long, and still not able to knock down the field goal is the nation's leading scorer. More than 5 minutes gone by in this Sweet 16 game.
Now, Michaela Blakes, oh, that's a foul.
Meaning that they understand the scout, making sure they're in the right place defensively.
Thanks so much, Angel, and already just setting the tempo defensively. You've got the 2-time ACC Player of the Year and 3-time Defensive Player of the Year out of the league, and Hannah Hidalgo. And then Cass Prosper at the free throw line, 1 of 2. And the Fighting Irish lead by a possession. Ayanna Moore now in the ball game for Notre Dame as they try to get it to Blake's, but turn it over. And Shea Ralph, who saw her team come out somewhat like this in the SEC tournament, as they were a 2 seed. They had a double bye for the first time in a couple decades, and Ole Miss took it to them early on. They turned things around, of course, since that time. but trying to get off to a quicker start.
Well, but one thing Michaela Blakes is very good with is she's going to size up how the defense is playing her, and then she's going to figure it out. So she's feeling things out now. And Notre Dame continuing to try to switch up things defensively.
Looking to get it inside to Mitchell. Taken away by one of the captains for Notre Dame. That's KK Bransford on the way to the hoop, and she's fouled. Bransford, who has a couple of free throws upcoming out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Look there, just stepping in the passing lane.
Well, what the Notre Dame defense, when they trap right there, then you got 2 interceptors, and they are looking all around, almost like a free safety of where I can get that interception.
Bransford, who had 10 points in that second round win over Ohio State, a game in which Notre Dame had to battle back, and she was back in her home state. Well, coming up next, the women's Sweet 16 continues on ESPN and the app at 5 Eastern with North Carolina taking on the #1 overall seed UConn, followed by Minnesota squaring off against 1 seed UCLA at 7:30, and the night capped off by Duke and LSU at 10 Eastern. The offensive foul waved off, and so the Fighting Irish right now, their game plan working to perfection to take out the nation-leading scorer as Washington sets the illegal screen.
It looked like Washington was running away, and Moore grabbed her by the waist. I don't know, D? What do you think on that one?
Well, let's bring in our rules analyst, D. Canton.
Carolyn, you're a pretty good referee.
I saw that right.
Yes, you did see it right. I think we got a little bit of a rip by the opponent, which fooled the referee.
I think this is the first time in our career that we agree.
I think it might be, actually. Write that one down, everyone.
Multiple and a turnover there. It's a 9-0 run right now for Notre Dame. And it seems as if Shea Ralph's group has just got to settle in. Obviously, so much attention and focus is paid on Michaela Blakes, but the game plan thus far really intact for the Fighting Irish.
Well, the Irish, and when you're in the NCAA tournament, your #1 focus has to be on the defensive end. I think that Vanderbilt has gotten a little rattled because they turned the ball over, they've missed some shots, and so there's a question mark. When your defense is working, you got a whole lot of confidence going the other direction.
Well, this is a Notre Dame team that averages about 24 turnovers a game so far in this first quarter. They forced 7 turnovers for the Doors.
I go back to the experience. The 5th Sweet 16 for this Notre Dame program, and specifically, they've got key returners who have been here before, so they're ready to handle the moment. This is new for Vanderbilt, so they've got to settle in and settle in fast.
And Hannah Hidalgo with the record in terms of steals. We've already seen her break the ACC single season record, and now she's done it in Division I. Hannah Hidalgo's just a spectacular and dynamic guard that we have in our game right now. As Washington nearly falls to the floor, another steal right into the hands of Hidalgo. And then setting up the offense, Coles was trying to get position down low, but pacing things is the junior. And got to get moving. Tried to dump it off to Bransford. And last touch by the Doors. So 5 seconds to work with on the shot clock on the inbound for Notre Dame.
Not only the defense that I'm impressed with Notre Dame, but the patience on the offensive end. Understanding, okay, Vanderbilt's turning the ball over and missing shots. You don't want to do the same thing on the other end. Be patient, deliberate, and get the shot you want.
Hidalgo takes a breather with 2:18 to go with the first quarter. De Jesus on the inbound, looking, finds Moore, who takes it in, and somehow the circus shot rolls around and goes down. Well, Ayanna Moore is averaging about 15.5 points through the first 2 NCAA tournament games. Helps to stretch out the lead. Now 11-0 run for the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, Ayanna Moore missed the first 2 games of the season. She was recovering from a knee injury after the transfer from Vanderbilt, but this is a scoring threat. It was a great addition for the Irish.
Moore, the 5th-year senior out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And Michaela Blake's at the line. Her first point of the game for the AP First Team All-American. And with those 2 made free throws, now she surpasses Caitlin Clark for 3rd most points in the first 2 seasons of NCAA Division I women's basketball. And that's quite the company there. You think about Juju Watkins, the fantastic season she had last year in her freshman campaign. Kelsey Mitchell, who was just a sniper when she was at Ohio State, now in the WNBA. As the left hand finger roll put up and in by Hannah Hidalgo, and a great start for Hannah Hidalgo on both ends of the floor. She's got half a dozen points to go along with 4 steals.
Spacing is so important in this Notre Dame offense so that they can use their quickness.
Hits Moore in the back of the head, nearly coming up with a steal. Brown tried to save it, and it's going to be Notre Dame basketball.
Look how spread out the Notre Dame offense is. She sets up Jada Brown and then cuts back door. It's just too far for Sasha Washington to make that recovery for the help.
9 turnovers in this opening quarter for Vanderbilt, trailing by 8. Now the 5th turnover there for Notre Dame. Last time these 2 programs met back in the Elite 8 back in 2001. Another steal coming up with it. Moore overshoots it, and Washington gets the rebound. Bounce pass out to Brown. She pushes it up the floor. Over to Galvin behind the back, loses the handle, but they're going to say it was last off of Coles.
You watch every time Michaela Blakes gets the basketball on the offensive end, it's either a quick switch or 2 are going to her.
And the idea that we heard from Neil Ivey, just as there is such a great respect for the game of Michaela Blake, she didn't necessarily say we're going to shut her down, but we try to find ways to limit her in the best ways possible, contest everything, and make it difficult. And thus far, Notre Dame has done exactly that.
Yeah, but Michaela Blakes has been savvy about drawing fouls. She's drawn over 288 fouls this season. One of the best, because you either had if you don't switch to stop her, you got to foul her because she's going to the rack.
Second in the nation, to your point, Carolyn, in terms of drawing fouls, and this is a player who's a National Player of the Year candidate. We'll see a couple in our next game with AZ Fudd and Sarah Strong with UConn.
But you see how patient Notre Dame is with the 4 spread. Going to use as much of the clock as possible.
Hidalgo goes to work with 7, swings it over to Moore, fakes inside to Coles, and Coles a second chance opportunity, no, and Blakes holds to try to get the final shot for the Commodores of this first quarter. Blake's crossover, runner, no, Galvin, rebound, put back it in.
Blakes to make it start with the basketball and just break you down one-on-one to get going. And then when that ponytail flips, it's on.
Meanwhile, Prosper going right at Justine Passat, gets it back, Passat deflecting it away again. Blakes rolls on it, and it's going to be Vanderbilt basketball.
Trying to go at Justine Passat. This is a player that has struggled with foul trouble inside, and it's going to be very important that she stay available for the Commodores.
And she, along with Blakes, played all 10 minutes in that opening quarter. Another steal for Notre Dame. Moore looking, finding Hidalgo in the corner. Kick back over. Moore from three. Front rim.
Woo, that's a rebound by Yana Mitchell.
Couldn't hold on to it. Moore trying once more, dialing it up from South Bend, and rims off. Well, the struggles in that first half, just 2 of 12 from the floor for Vanderbilt. We'll see if they're able to turn things around as the Jesus picking up a personal foul. That's her second personal.
Yeah, this is a Vanderbilt team that they average 19 assists a game. They're used to being able to make the ball pop. But the pressure from Notre Dame, you got to take a second look, and that's where you've got to give your teammates time for a backdoor cut.
A little space there, but the three won't drop for Blakes. Hidalgo coming up with a weak side rebound. Puts it up and leaves it short. Michaela Blakes, we mentioned, the nation's leading scorer, averaging 27 points a game, but they have been hard to come by. No field goals for Blakes. All 4 of her points have come from the free throw line. Bounce pass, great find from Coles to Prosper. Well, I really love just the evolution of Cass Prosper and the way that she has come on and developed this season for the Fighting Irish. Most improved player in the ACC.
Yeah, and she's one of the core players that returned, one of the 3 that came back for Notre Dame. And she said she really worked on her self-confidence and knew that she could be a major part of this program.
Moore inside, a wide open Malaya Coles. And Malaya Coles, who transferred over from 5 so far this afternoon. And she has recorded 5 or more steals, and she's got another one. Quickly back, half a dozen steals as Hidalgo has been the difference maker on defense for the Fighting Irish.
I told you, if Hannah Hidalgo is on the floor, you better protect your pocket, because she's going to take it from you as often as she can.
Setting the record for most steals in the season in Division I history. We talked about that earlier as a tie-up. I'm going to tell you, we are sitting nearby with Skylar Diggins, the former Notre Dame great, who did something that Hannah did as well in terms of 5 or more steals in an NCAA tournament game. And look, rare company that Hidalgo is in, and the Fighting Irish great loving seeing her team out to this 10-point lead. Trying to make their first Elite 8 since 2019. Too strong from Prosper. Well, again, Carolyn, you talked about just the experience of Notre Dame and the lack thereof for this Vanderbilt team.
Well, the difference in the defense. Notre Dame has got their hands all over you. They are up and aggressive. Vanderbilt on the defensive end more into a gap defense, so there's more pressure.
Here she's out. And running again is Hidalgo, picks the pocket, another steal, 7 in total in this first half for Hannah Hidalgo. Remember, she had H in each of her first 2 NCAA tournament games this season.
So now how does Vanderbilt accommodate that? They've got to be more patient offensively. They got to get Michaela Blakes going. But I would say also use some back screen action to the basket.
First field goal for Blakes. She was 0 of 8 before that shot went down. So a 10-point advantage for Notre Dame, the 6th seed, as Passat whistled for the foul.
Because Hannah Hidalgo is so active, and at times she'll even leave her player because she knows she's going to be the first to the ball. She's got that kind of quickness. Just the steal and then score mentality.
And you asked her just about what goes into the mind of, you know, the art of the steal and how she's so effective? Obviously staying one step ahead, but for you, what do you notice most on the defensive end?
She anticipates when the opportunity is going to be there. I think her mindset, she said she wants to make the opponent uncomfortable. I think she's a little hungrier than that.
And the way she elevates in the lane and puts it in, well, Ncaa Hidalgo is having herself an outstanding first half. 12 points, 7 steals, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists for the junior. We talk about the stars who shine bright on these big stages, and right now, it's all about Ncaa Hidalgo and her Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The block from Hidalgo. Ladies and gentlemen, when you think about all the stat stuffing that Ncaa Hidalgo does with her play, she tries to get another right there, and she's whistled for the foul. She kind of pinballed between a couple of
on your team. Now, how does Vanderbilt combat that? One of the things I used to do as a coach, the best defensive player, I'd run my offense opposite her. So that you can handle the ball away from her, and then whoever she's guarding that's away, you can screen, buying that offensive player room as she comes to the ball.
Well, Coach, if you could draw it up for Shea Ralph, maybe she would do it here and run away from Ncaa Hidalgo. She talked about making ball handlers fearful of her and uncomfortable. And a traveling violation against KK Bransford.
Now Vanderbilt going with a lineup of having 4 guards on the floor with Ayanna Mitchell. So can they be patient and spread the floor like Notre Dame was doing to them?
Brown in the corner was asking for it, but a 3-second violation, and they hand it right back over.
Yeah, turnovers have been the Achilles heel today for Vanderbilt.
16 in total for the Commodores, and the Fighting Irish have scored 12 points off of those turnovers.
Now Vanderbilt really has 5 guards on the floor with Justine Passat inside.
Passat, 6'4", coming out of Toms River, New Jersey, hands high, facing Coles.
Vanderbilt in their matchup zone.
High arcing jump shot won't fall. And Blakes tries to flip it in. And I'll tell you, that's a savvy way of picking up points. Shots not falling for you, but she's making another trip to the free throw line. 6 of 6 thus far from the charity stripe this afternoon.
Well, and one of the things Neil Ivey said that her team was going to have to defend Michaela Blakes by committee. So when she's driving, there's got to be help there.
Well, coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship continues on CBS and TBS for tournament game times and networks. Go to ncaa.com.
Blake's got 9 points, and she's only made 1 field goal. Now, something to keep an eye on for Notre Dame. They've got 1, 2. They've got 4 players with 2 fouls.
Hidalgo showing off the handles, pulls it back out, going right back towards the hoop. Tough shot, no. And Blakes comes down with the rebound.
You got to compliment Jada Brown for the defense on Hidalgo that possession.
Pull up 3, rims off for Blakes. And then another foul going against Notre Dame. That's against Ayanna Moore, her first personal, team's 4th.
So now for the rest of this quarter, Vanderbilt will be in the bonus.
Blakes not able to knock it down. Just 1 of 11 from the floor for Michaela Blakes. Aubrey Galvin tries to take it in. Circus, oh my goodness! Did y'all just see that? Woo-wee! Okay, Aubrey Galvin. Got some oohs and ahs inside Dickey Arena.
1 of the things that Shea Ralph says about Aubrey Galvin, get bored on the court, so I would look for things to stretch my game, and it's plays like that.
You think about the years that Jewel Lloyd had at Notre Dame, an All-American, WNBA champion. And Galvin launches the three. She got it! First triple of the afternoon hit for the Commodores. They're on a 9-0 run. They draw within a possession. Hidalgo going right into the rack.
I mean, that's a one-woman offense right there, even out of a double team.
And she has been a one-woman wrecking crew in this first half. Galvin hit check. Back-to-back threes on that end of the floor for Galvin and the Commodores. Things heating up now.
Back and forth play. You got Galvin heating up. Hidalgo, she will answer the challenge.
13, so she has really lifted her game here in this second quarter. Passat on the take to the rack, no. And Prosper protecting that rebound. Hidalgo kicks it over to Moore. Ava Black making it difficult and forcing the turnover there as they get it in the hands of Blakes.
Now remember,
2-point ball game.
Hannah Hidalgo's got 2 fouls.
Leaves it short, does Blakes. Final minute of the first half. This Sweet 16 game, the winner will move on to the Elite 8 as Prosper is fouled. Justine Passat picking up the personal foul. That's her second. Ncaa Prosper, the senior out of Montreal, Quebec, is at the line. When you think about a player, you talked about part of that nucleus who returns. And for Ncaa Prosper, again, she has embraced a greater role this season for the Fighting Irish. Thrived in all areas. We talked about her scoring improvement from last year. This year, nearly a 9-point jump. And she knocks down both free throws and pushing the lead back out to 4.
Vanderbilt could go 2 for 1.
Blake's trying it, no call, a lot of contact as Hidalgo pushing back the other way, trying to step around Jada Brown and puts it in. And Hannah Hidalgo has been outstanding in this first half. 16 points, 8 of 13 from the floor for the junior guard. Aubrey Galvin is fouled on the way up. So she'll take a trip to the line with 9.9 seconds remaining in the first half. And that's Vanessa De Jesus' 3rd personal foul. So that's something to keep an eye on as the primary ball handler for the Irish.
Yeah, that's very important because that allows Hannah Hidalgo to play off the ball. And then also Vanessa De Jesus is another 3-point threat that helps spread the floor. So when she's out of the game, Vanderbilt can sag to help toward Hidalgo a little bit more. Vanderbilt's going to have to pick up Hidalgo on this possession because she got enough time to make something special happen.
Hidalgo, they try to help, but the sauce just rims off. And that takes us to the close of the first half. And
it's kept the Commodores in striking distance.
She scored the last 9 points for the Doors going into the locker room. Vanessa De Jesus thought about the 3, tried to get it inside, deflected, and taken away by Vanderbilt. Blake's in double figures with 10. along with Galvin, who leads the way for Vanderbilt with 13. Quick release for Blake Snow, offensive rebound, and then stolen away by Cass Prosper out of the break. 14 fast break points we have seen from Notre Dame so far in this game. When they get running and in transition, things happen quickly.
Yeah, Notre Dame's best offense has been Vanderbilt's turnovers. Again, another one.
Into the hands of Hidalgo, going right in, and she's fouled. Galvin whistled for the foul. And so, first team foul for the Commodores as that sends Hannah Hidalgo to the line. A star-studded game we have here with Hidalgo out of Merchantville, New Jersey. Grew up just about an hour away from Somerset, New Jersey, where Michaela Blakes is from. As here's our Saturday Sweet 16 matchups for you at 12:30 Eastern on ABC. It's Louisville squaring off against Michigan, followed by Kentucky taking on the 1 seed Texas over on ESPN. Then Oklahoma faces off against the 1 seed South Carolina, followed by the 10 seed, lone double-digit 10 seed still standing in Virginia, taking on TCU.
I love the women's game has a Cinderella story with Virginia, and then you also have the rematch of South Carolina and Oklahoma. Oklahoma was the team that got a victory over the Gamecocks this season.
Was able to win on their home floor in overtime over the Gamecocks, as that one following her own shot, and Aubrey Galvin stepping up on the biggest stage of her college career, her first ever Sweet 16. Prosper over to Ayanna Moore, the sharpshooter for three, has it halfway go down and pop back out.
What I'm looking for, Tiffany, is in the SEC tournament, Michaela Blakes 0 for 10 in the first half field goals, but she ended up with 24 points in that game.
But you get contributions like that unexpectedly from Ncaa knocking down the top of the key three, and it's a 4-point ball game. You look for this Notre Dame team. Prosper with 9 points, Hannah Hidalgo with 18. Who else is going to be a part of that supporting cast for the Irish here?
Ayanna Moore. She can shoot at 23, he's got range.
Dumps it inside to Coles, and a shot clock violation for Notre Dame.
Notre Dame looked to be in a sort of a zone. Galvin takes the contested three, but doesn't give up on it. The freshman has that second effort. And then Jackalenga, Ncaa, doesn't make many threes, but that one was right on time.
Just her 20th triple of the season, as Galvin being guarded by the much bigger Prosper, and the turnover on the baseline into the hands of Hidalgo.
That's another steal for Hidalgo.
And they turn it into points. You said that earlier, that's the best medicine thus far for this Notre Dame team, as they have capitalized, scoring 18 points off of 19 turnovers for Vanderbilt, make it 20 now. And put in another deuce for Hannah Hidalgo now with 20 points.
Let me tell you what's fun to watch is Hannah steals or scores, comes down the floor, and looks at Skylar Diggins.
Well, we heard Angel talk about just the great mentor that she is, as Jada Brown knocks down the three. So 4-14 from beyond the arc, and those threes helping to keep things close for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, no lead is comfortable for the Irish because of the three-point threat of Vanderbilt. Oh, what a quick stab by Prosper.
Well, I tell you, just again, the way that she has taken her game to this next level, member of the Olympic Canadian team, and then knocked down the triple right there. Blakes, those field goals who have been hard to come by for her, the long two. One-handed pass into KK Bransford, and Ayanna Moore is making a difference against her former team.
Yeah, Ayanna Moore is a player that has played the point when she was at Vanderbilt, so she can be a great facilitator.
Just tuning in, it has been the defensive effort from Notre Dame that has really been the difference in this one. Hannah Hidalgo has been spectacular. And again, this is a team who had a slow start, some question marks coming into the season, had to battle through some injuries. But, you know, one thing that Ncaa Ivey told us was the way that her team took another level of accountability, and the type of intensity that she had to bring was matched by her players.
Yeah, even in that up and down season, the confidence that Ncaa Ivey exuded helped this team to stay together.
And among what makes this matchup so interesting, two former players winning national championships in college. Ncaa Ivey did it under Muffet McGraw, helping the Irish to bring home their first ever natty. Shea Ralph did it with UConn, and they did it in back-to-back seasons. Elite Eight for the first time since 2019. It's been a much longer drought for the Vanderbilt Commodores, and been back since 2002.
And the biggest problem in the differential is points off turnovers. Notre Dame is winning that 8-2.
Losing the handle, and now that ties a season high for turnovers with 20 now for the Commodores.
Yeah, Notre Dame winning that 18-2, points off turnovers.
Posada on the floor finds Coles inside, and Malaya Coles puts it in. Malaya Coles now with 8 points, as Notre Dame has had success in the paint with 36, but a nice answer back the other way for the Doors.
Yeah, Aubrey Galvin reading that, putting on the moves in the middle of the floor, and then Passat continuing to move.
The first points of the day, one of the players in double figures for a season average for the Commodores. Moore launching three, no. Black coming down with the rebound. One of the freshmen on this team, along with Aubrey Galvin. And Blake's working inside, no call there, some contact. She ends up on the floor. Hannah Hidalgo has the ball in her hands and runs right into Passat. Count the bucket! Just in talking to Hannah Hidalgo yesterday, she came into this game with a different level of intensity in her eyes.
Yeah, and the Sweet 16 has been an area where Hannah Hidalgo has struggled offensively. That has not been the case, and I believe today Hidalgo came into this game with the focus on the defensive end, didn't worry about making shots, because in her previous Sweet 16, 0 for 6 from the three-point line. Today, she has been very aggressive.
That's an excellent point, Carolyn. You think about how she performed in those first couple of rounds, 20-plus points, but again, when she makes it to the Sweet 16, it's been a different story, averaging just about 12 and a half points in the round of 16 as Galvin comes back the other way with the mid-range jumper.
In the SEC tournament, with the slow offensive start, it took Shea Ralph to getting ejected from that game to fuel the energy of the Commodores. And the one thing she was frustrated with was the amount of contact that Michaela Blake's received with no calls.
Mitchell grabbing the rebound. And the officiating crew today is certainly let them play here as Passat off the mark from three. And through the first two quarters, it was Notre Dame who had players that we were monitoring in terms of foul trouble with Hidalgo, Prosper, and Bransford. They had 2 to start this quarter, along with 3 for De Jesus, but they have since managed that well thus far with 1:50 remaining in this third quarter. And Neil Ivey just talked about the trust and togetherness of this group. And when we watched her in that last game, she was very emotional after that win against Ohio State. She was concerned about them getting off to a slow start. They were down by 11 points at one point as Galvin is fouled on the three. But they came out here with a quick start. They put their foot on the gas in that first quarter to really... For the 6th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Of course, we've got another one coming your way with North Carolina and UConn right after this one. We'll see Minnesota, UCLA in action along with Duke and LSU tonight. And then another slate of 4 games in the Sweet 16 coming your way tomorrow.
Now we get to call that UConn-North Carolina game, then we got to find somewhere quick to watch the games the rest of the night because this tournament's going to be spicy.
In and out for candidates, finalists, as they have been ever efficient. And when you watch AZ Fudd play, I mean, so efficient.
Now that she got her nails done, 8 for 10 from the three-point line in their last game.
Gino Oriema having something to say about just filing down those nails. Don't be so aggressive towards the basketball. As a nice step through from KK Bransford. The lead back out to 8.
Where Notre Dame has turned up, rebounding, because Vanderbilt was dominating in that category.
33-21 on the boards in favor of Notre Dame as Galvin swings it over to Blakes. And Blakes, tough make, kissing it off the glass. 14 points now for Blakes. Where buckets have just been tough to come by for the nation's leading scorer. Just her 3rd made field goal. And now about a 2-second differential between the shot clock and game clock.
Got to trap Hidalgo, otherwise she can make magic happen.
Hidalgo going to work, the handle showing off, and pops out. Wrestling for the basketball, it's going to be Vanderbilt ball with 1 second remaining in the 3rd.
There's enough time.
The gather, and left short. So just 6 points separate these 2 teams, but I'll tell you this.
4th, if they don't want their season to be over.
The winner of this one will face off against our 2nd game winner between UConn and North Carolina, which is coming up roughly at 5 o'clock Eastern, or about 30 minutes after this one concludes. And as Hannah Hidalgo continuing to drop points and answering back the other way. We set this star-studded matchup between 2 guards who knew each other from New Jersey, played against and with each other throughout their career. Hannah Hidalgo has the advantage, won one in high school, and then her AAU team, she's trying to best to get 3 in a row.
It's going to be these 2 New Jersey players that are going to decide the outcome of this one.
Great find and bounce pass, but the block from Ayanna Mitchell of that shot from Prosper. Back the other way. It's Blakes. No gather as it bounces off, but she'll go to the line.
Michaela Blakes having Coles in the ball screen. She has been helping in the paint, so that gives space for Blakes to get shots. I look for Vanderbilt to go back to more of that.
When you think back to that first half, just 1 field goal on 13 attempts. She had the majority of her points coming from the free throw line. She is a perfect 10 of 10 from the line this afternoon.
Now Vanderbilt extending their defense, little pressure to take time off the clock, but once Hannah gets it now, there's got to be a help rotation. Galvin's got the responsibility on the ball. Who's going to rotate to help?
Well overshot by DeJesus. Jada Brown on the way to the hoop and draws the foul. So that's Hannah Hidalgo's 3rd personal foul. And Brown will shoot two. So Jada Brown, one of the seniors on this team out of Bentonville, Arkansas. We talked earlier about just the resurgence that we have seen from this Vanderbilt program under Shea Ralph's leadership. Jada Brown was a part of that first signing class for Ralph. She, along with Sasha Washington and Ayanna Moore, was also a part of it now with Notre Dame.
And Shea Ralph really complements the dependability of Jada Brown, especially on the defensive end. See Brown, she's going to shade wherever Hannah Hidalgo is.
And Hidalgo just can't be stopped. Hannah Hidalgo, who has just put on a show this afternoon. And we wondered who would take the shine, but also sharing that spotlight is Michaela Blakes, as she's come alive here in the second half.
Well, instead of going in and with the layup, she's playing off 2 feet, finishing in the paint.
One possession ball game. Fifth straight Sweet 16 for the Fighting Irish. Moore kicks out to Jesus. Open look from three. Corner pocket, got it. Well, one of the three-point threats. And the first three for Notre Dame. But when you think about the Jesus, the dependability, the coachability that she has brought to this Notre Dame team. No on that take from Galvin. And let's bring it back.
Well, Hannah Hidalgo going strong with her left with the finish before the rotation can be there. And then Michaela Blakes with some shifty ball handling, playing off 2 feet to get the finish in the paint.
Blakes 1 of 15 to start again, folks, and then 4 of 5 since that point. And we talked about this matchup coming in. These two guards going head to head. Blake's nation's leading scorer. Hidalgo, third in the nation. The double team brought over, left Moore open. And can't hit the open three. And Hidalgo trying to get those quick hands. Last touch by the Irish.
Yeah, Hannah Hidalgo's not going to give up on a play. Post players, when you rebound the ball, look, if you don't hug it, Hannah Hidalgo's had a shot at getting at it.
You know, just relentless, just has a great nose for the basketball, does Hidalgo.
She's so competitive.
Galvin picks up the dribble, finds Brown. Single digits now on the shot clock. Over to Blakes. And Blakes with the and one. Well, she hits the deck a whole lot of times during the game, but when she can be rewarded with the bucket, she'll take it.
Now, earlier in this game, Michaela Blakes was trying this, and there was a no call, but Dee, what was it that you saw earlier that's the difference now that the officials are blowing the whistle?
Well, on that particular call, and you have to understand, officials focus on refereeing the defense. And often, Michaela Blakes goes to the basket and initiates contact into a legally established defender and then falls to the floor and looks at us like, where's the foul? That one, the defense is going towards her and makes illegal contact. The difference in the plays.
Well, 6.5 minutes to go. Thanks for that, Dee. 3-point ball game. Important to note, Cass Prosper picked up her 4th personal foul, so she's on the bench. Again, the way that she has contributed on both ends of the floor. We'll see who else can try to rebound and score the way that she's done as the Jesus. Another open look from 3. No, as Passat is able to haul it in. And Galvin, the freshman point guard for Vanderbilt, slowing things down off the screen. The 3, she hits the tie. That was all in a rhythm for Aubrey Galvin, who has knocked down 3 threes in this game, but that one was a big one. And you talked about the rebounding margin for Vanderbilt, grabbing another board, 39 to 22. The spin move won't fall in, and Hidalgo can push the pace. She's got numbers, going right in, reads it all, and puts it in. 29 points for Hannah Hidalgo, where she's already threatened with a couple of triple-doubles in her first 2 games.
She said the message to her this season was strong things don't break. She has a mentality that you cannot train. She was labeling it as the Connexon wearable technology that they use, where we've already tracked that she runs about 4 miles in a game, but her relentlessness, being able to stay and sustain that type of motor is what's helped her the most.
And after the block on one in, the nice dazzling pass from Galvin inside to Mitchell, and a tie ball game once again. Thanks so much, Angel, as things continue to heat up. Just over 4 minutes to go. Notre Dame trying to break their curses. Mitchell with the emphatic block there.
Talk about a freshman, though, that is unbothered. You watch Galvin. She's got shooters all around, but keeps her eye on Ayanna Mitchell, who continues to run the floor. Don't follow the eyes. Tricks are for kids.
Third block of the afternoon on the defensive end for Vanderbilt to go along with the fantastic dish from Galvin, as a tough shot from Hidalgo off the miss. And on the break, it's Blake's. No call there. A lot of contact, and it's going to be Notre Dame basketball.
It was all ball. Ayanna Moore up top, has her hand on the ball. A high five.
And Decantner is shaking
she's
her
agreeing
head.
with
She
us.
is agreeing, indeed. So I'll rescind my comment of the contact piece of it. Even at 59 all for Notre Dame, they've lost the last 4 Sweet 16s. There's DeJesus with the offensive foul. DeJesus now with 4 personal fouls along with Prosper.
But what you have to appreciate, Michaela Blake thought she should have gotten the call on the other end. She didn't. She didn't hang her head or pout, but came down on the other end and made a tremendous defensive play for the Commodores. And in the first half, Blake's was 1 for 13 from the floor. In this second half, she's 5 of 10.
Off 1 foot, no. Mitchell trying to corral the rebound on the O-board, and it goes into the hands of Notre Dame. Made the presence that she has, the voice that she provides for this team, as you just mentioned. And right now, an open look for more, no. As Notre Dame, who has led more than 31 minutes in this ball game, but Vanderbilt now with the possession and a chance to take the lead. Mitchell finds Blake's, a little opening, and rims off. Hidalgo slowing the pace down in the half court.
Hidalgo off ball screens. In this horn set, they have been able to find shooters in the corner.
As you just mentioned, CP, and Moore can't connect. And that is a big foul, because that's number 5. Those ball handling duties, as Blake's is at the line. First missed free throw of the afternoon for the sophomore.
And Skylar Diggins giving advice to Hannah Hidalgo and helping her stay focused to close out and there's a little over 2 minutes left to go.
First lead of the game for Vanderbilt. You have to go back to the first quarter when they led 5-4, but quickly grabbed right back by Notre Dame to make for more. 61-60 inside of 2 minutes. And a trip to the Elite Eight on the line. Blakes grabs the lead right back. She elevates on that jumper. 26 points now for Blakes.
See now, KK Bransford, you don't have Vanessa De Jesus as a 3 option. It's Iona Moore, the top of your string.
Prosper taking it in. The blocking foul going against Vanderbilt. And Justine Passat whistled bonus the rest of the way as Prosper misses the first of 2.
And here's where Vanderbilt has been able to stay in the game. They have attempted 23 free throws. They're 19 of 23, and they are in the bonus.
Tied once again, 62 apiece. Galvin gets it across. Hidalgo on Blakes. And Galvin, who's been excellent in her first year, but this one's stolen away by Hidalgo and giving Notre Dame the lead right back. Boy, Hannah Hidalgo with her steals this afternoon has been a difference maker, now with 10 total as and Galvin, a 79% free throw shooter, hits the first.
Now, will Neil Ivey use a timeout and advance the ball? She only has 2 timeouts.
She does not. So Hannah Hidalgo, her 10th 30-point game of the season, 10 steals, so another double-double, and they get it to the hands of their playmaker.
And again, in this horn set, because they can have shooters in the corner, they can get an isolation of a post inside.
Splitting, couple of defenders, losing the handle, regaining, no. And Coles has made things easy for the other. It's Bransford on the inbound, trying to get it to Hidalgo, nearly stolen away, but Hidalgo finds Prosper for the 2. The lead taken by Notre Dame, and now Vanderbilt spins a timeout. So the out of time, you get it in. And they're gonna say it's still Notre Dame basketball, partially deflected there by Passat. 18.6 remaining.
Yeah, Notre Dame's got to get it in. They do not have a timeout.
And making it difficult. A collision there as Moore, and there's a quick foul there by Jada Brown. They've got another foul to give, does Vanderbilt. So a couple more seconds tick off the clock.
And the inbound goes closer to the Vanderbilt basket.
And Blakes and Brown right there to try to slow down Hidalgo. So that's the final foul for Vanderbilt. They quickly stop the clock, 14.2 seconds remaining, but free throws as both teams in the bonus.
Ncaa Prosper, 75% free throw shooter. She's 4 of 6 today.
The first one rims out for the senior out of Montreal.
Shea Ralph communicates, make or miss a timeout. Right.
She nails the second one. That timeout spent by Vanderbilt. Their final, it's still a one-possession ball game. Vanderbilt with an opportunity to tie up this game if they could knock down a 3. Well, we came on the air talking to you about
Two are their best three-point shooters.
so far this ball game. Galvin has knocked down 3 threes. Jada Brown has hit one along with Ncaa. They get it into Galvin. And it's just poked away from behind by Hidalgo.
That same play, now you're going to watch. Justine Passat went complete opposite side, so that skip pass could be there.
Galvin on the inbound. She gets it right back from Passat. Galvin for 3. No, she follows her own shot, gets it back. Blakes puts it up. Not gonna make it. That's it. 5 straight trips to the Sweet 16, but